Okay, the meeting will come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Berard, Fleming, Funderburk, Levine, and Noonan present.
Thank you. This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I have no opening remarks. Does the General Manager have opening remarks?
Just wanted to advise the board last week, Phil, Randy, and myself attended an investors conference in New York. We were calling it investor speed dating because literally they put you in a room and the investors just came in from 8 until 4. We picked up a lot of interesting information that the investors would find to be more valuable when we communicated. So all in all, it was a good trip. Other than that, sir, I have nothing else.
I'm glad to know all these investors are so interested in investing with us. It's good. Comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations. Do we have comments from commissioners? None. None? Wow. And we have no public comment cards. Comments from ratepayer advocate on agendized items.
We'll have brief comments on items 14 and 15 at the time.
Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes of September 16th. Second? Those in favor? Aye. They're approved. On the consent calendar, items 7 through... Wait a second.
11.
Yeah, 7 to 11. Does any commissioner wish to remove any consent item from the calendar on items 7 to 11? Is there a motion to approve those items? Second. Those in favor? Aye. The consent calendar is approved. The reason I'm confused is that just before item 12 it says consent agenda, but I think it means regular items.
Sorry about that.
So we move to item 12, water. Bid number 546 for cold positive displacement type water meters with Aquarius Waterworks.
Joe.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Joe Streeta, Director of Water Distribution.
Good morning. John Cox, Water Utility Superintendent.
And Cree Horner, Distribution Infrastructure Program.
I get John, my metering expert, to explain more details about this contract.
Small meter contract. It's for 25,000 meters that we replace each year for our MRP goal, and also for new installs, paid services from customers.
Do any commissioners have any questions on this item or comments? Commissioner Broad.
Thank you. It doesn't say in our material here, but this is for replacements, or is it new and replacements?
It is both new and replacement.
Okay, and then, so the new ones, if you could just explain to me, the new, what you're going to furnish and deliver are different water meters than what we've had in the past.
No, this is a contractor that we've used in the past. The same brand. It's a Neptune meter.
And it's the same kind of meter?
Yes, a positive displacement meter, the same type that we've used in the past.
Okay. Let's see.
Would you explain our replacement program so it's a little clearer what our plans are on the meter replacement?
The meter replacement, we do, like I said, about 25,000 a year. Roughly half of those are stuck defective type meters that we replace.
Half are what?
Stuck and defective type meters that we replace. The rest of them are just aged meters that we replace each year.
All right, I just wanted to read you something here. It says that the benefit of the positive displacement meters is that they can measure wide variations of flow rate and are accurate in registering low flows, which help prevent under-registering. So replacing and installing new water meters with more accurate meters will ensure a more accurate accounting of water usage. So that's really my the basis of my question is that how are these different? I mean, these are updated, these are more accurate.
All it is, the positive displacement meter has several moving parts in it, and they're plastic, so they do wear over time. So over the course of 20 years or so, you start to see a drop off in the accuracy, and it's not a huge drop off, but it's a small drop off. And so those meters get replaced. Those are the ones that we focus on outside of the stuck defective meters that we replaced.
Okay, and where were these? How will you know which ones to replace?
We get from the meter reading section. We'll get reads that are 0 reads or something, or they'll give us a notice that the glass is broken or the meter's stuck. So those ones we do replace right away. Actually, we get them within about 10 days of being notified we're replacing
Somebody actually has to see them. The meter reader has
them. Yeah,
to
the meter
see
reader
it.
lets us know. Yes.
Yeah. Now, but some of these are, you have smart meters or some where people are not, or is that not, these are all red?
These are all red.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Thunderbird?
Yes, I just had one comment / question. When you say lead-free, you're not talking about, it has de minimis quantities of very micro amounts of lead, or is this entirely lead-free? Is this a Cebaloy type of alloy or Federaloy, or what type of alloy is it? It's entirely...
Yeah, they are both Cebaloy and Federaloy. We are going lead-free on all of them now.
Okay, so it's entirely lead-free. Okay.
I just had one thing. How many meters do you anticipate that you're going to replace?
We shoot for 25,000 a year, and then
25,000?
Yes.
And you start based on where people have said that there's something wrong, the meter readers?
Yes. And then we create orders every month based on age, meters that have been in the ground the longest.
On age?
Yes. Those are the two of the factors that we use.
And when will this is a year that you do, this is the 25,000 is a year?
Per year, yes.
And so when, has this already, it said March 17, 2014, or have you started this already? Or
We've been changing 25,000 a year for several years, actually. That's been our MRP goal, and it's a fiscal year. We follow that from July to July.
And how long do they last?
We've got meters in the ground that are 30 years old, and they're still operating.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to clarify, so we're spending up to $16 million on just 25,000 meters? That seems very expensive.
It depends on the size of the meter as part of it. The various, we have 2-inch down to 5/8 by 3/4, and so it varies by size. We most likely won't spend that amount. Annually, it'll probably be substantially less. I think that $16 million was probably for the entirety of the 3 years. No?
No, it says for a 12-month period. That's, I mean, unless there's a typo, because if you look at the original contracts, we've been asked to spend approximately $5 million a year.
Right. That's more in line with what we purchase each year is roughly $5 million worth.
Well, I mean, that makes a big difference. Then I think the item needs to be corrected. The dollar amount. Also, how accurate are these meters, and why aren't we going wireless, given all of the publicity that we've gotten on billing and how many times our employees can't access meters and estimates are made and people argue that the estimates weren't correct. People weren't living in their homes and yet their water and power bills stayed the same or went up given these estimates. So why aren't we initiating just going wireless at this point?
We're actually doing some pilot projects right now testing those meter technologies. Some of the bigger vendors don't actually have them out yet. So somebody to be able to provide a large amount of meters for us, there's not a lot of vendors out there that can meet our demand every year. Badger is one of them that can now, and Neptune is coming on board. That's why we're doing some pilots with them, and then we're working on a new spec for that specific type of meter to put out at a later date.
I'm a very strong proponent of that. I think that would create a lot of peace of mind for many of the ratepayers that are having issues with their billing.
I'm with you. I agree.
If I could add, the meters we're putting in are capable as a meter, because we don't want to put in a meter that we then, if we have a system that collects the data, we don't have to change that meter again. So these meters are capable. What we need to do is have the system that collects the data and puts it into the billing system. But the meters will be ready to be read remotely.
Okay.
And if I could just correct on the question on the budget, it probably is not worded really well, but it's 1 year plus 2 optional years is the 16 million, and then in the breakdown it's got the little under 5 million a year. Right, and then we have a minimum guarantee amount and a maximum we might buy. And one thing that John didn't say is that we're doing this on a regular basis, and so this keeps stock. And as we change certain number of 1.5-inch meters or 2-inch meters, we replenish the stock because we're doing this every day. And so this won't be a program that just starts this year. We'll just continue to, we'll have the ability to continue to stock the shelf as we continue to replace meters. But if we don't do this, we started this a number of years ago, we found out that as the meters got older, they underread. And so we're not, they don't read those small flows. And so then you're underbilling. And so you have to have this continual replacement every year to make sure that none of them get so old that they don't read correctly.
And just to confirm, this investment that we may be making for 1 to 3 years can be converted at a very low cost to become wireless? Is there going to be a premium that we have to pay to make them wireless when that technology arrives? Because what I would hate to do is I would hate to spend all this money just to learn that we have to change all of these meters that could last 30 years, but now with new technology we're replacing them after 2-3 years.
These meters all have the unit and the sending unit on them. So the meters are ready to go.
Okay.
The receiving system we haven't selected or decided on as a company, but the meters will be ready to go. They will not need to be replaced for that.
And we won't have to pay a premium for those meters per se?
We pay an additional charge to have that component on there, but the cost of the additional component is a lot less than the labor cost of having to go and put a whole new meter in if we didn't prepare for this.
Okay.
Other questions or comments? Is there a motion? I'll move. Second. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's approved. Thank you. Item 13, 8 agreements for computer equipment and maintenance with Dynamic Systems, PCM BDVA, PCM Gov, Nth Generation Computing, Corp Info Services, Endpoint Technology Sales, PC Specialist Inc. DBA, Technology Integration Group, Mainline Information Systems, and Glasshouse Systems. The term of each agreement is for 3 years, and the cumulative total of budgeted funds is $42,178,500.
Matt Lamp, Chief Information Officer. Thank you for reading through all those. I'm glad I didn't have to.
There's another paragraph here.
So let me sort of quickly try to just go through what this is and what it isn't. Okay. This is an enabling agreement where we go out competitively, identify a large market basket of sort of standard equipment that we buy, standard servers, storage equipment we use, PCs, laptops, a variety of things within the department. We put together an RFP with a market basket of those products and look for vendors who can supply a number of those products, making sure that in this contract for that basket of products, we have at least 2 vendors who are authorized suppliers of everything, of each component we're looking for. Then when we have a specific item we need to purchase, we will put out essentially a mini bid to these pre-approved companies, so we have all the contracting in place, all the terms and conditions in place. They will competitively bid each item, and purchasing will then do the review of the bids and award. So it's essentially everything then becomes sort of a sub-purchase order process, and it's a much more efficient way of trying to deal with the sort of massive numbers of equipment requests that we deal with. But at the same time, trying to meet our key goals of an efficient process with competition. We sort of improve efficiency by reducing the number of formal bid processes because we've already set this in place. We maintain appropriate checks and balances because we are not, the IT side of the house is not actually doing the awards, but everything is being bid properly. And it supports standardizing our
computing environment, because basically only things that get onto the standards list can be bid through this contract. So desktops, laptops, monitors, some of the handheld devices like the meter reader devices, servers, data storage. Storage is one of the bigger costs that's in here, because data continues to grow. People store more images, more maps, more of a lot of different types of data. As we move to smart meters, the amount of data, instead of one reading every 30 or 60 days, we're getting a read for every 15 minutes. So that's a continuously growing area. Network equipment, office printers and plotters. Plotters is a big issue. We do a lot of drafting across the department, and we need to both purchase and maintain those plotters, and they take a fair amount of maintenance. And manufacturers or maintenance packages. So on different equipment, depending on the criticality, we may have a manufacturer's support maintenance package that says they will respond within 4 hours, 7 by 24, they'll respond within 4 hours. And one of the features of those is at least some of this equipment, the server level, the big storage unit level, has what we call phone home thing. So it's running diagnostics on the equipment, and it will identify components that may be heading toward failure, call the manufacturer. It's not at all uncommon for us to be here, to have a service person show up and say, I'm here to replace these disk drives in your storage because we're seeing signs that they may fail in the next few weeks, and we want to replace them before they fail. Those are all components that help us maintain a high degree of reliability in our system. And then installation services, where it's required for warranty or it's a very complex installation, will be here. What we don't buy here are consulting services, time and materials maintenance services, any sort of advanced support, application support, or very specialized items. Those will go out on separate bids and RFPs. We set the contract amount basically by talking to all the systems, seeing what they're expecting to replace over the next few years, looking at our replacement cycles on servers, looking at plotters, laptops, desktops, and arrive at a target number for the contract that's in the budget. There is no minimum guarantee to any of these vendors, and we purchase as we go through the years, trying to maintain our environment in a reliable manner.
On that note, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
So these vendors that we're considering executing this item with, we pay them by the hour as needed? I wasn't clear on what you just said.
These vendors are all authorized resellers for various computer equipment. And so we do an RFP for them to get onto this contract, and then any item we purchase, we will send the spec out. We're buying this server with this much memory, etc., to this manufacturer's spec to them, and they will bid back and say, we'll offer it to you at this price or this price or this price independently as a bid process back to supply chain. Supply chain will then evaluate the bids and award, and we'll get the equipment. But the process of that is much faster than sort of the formal bid process we would normally otherwise use.
I understand. It's more like a preferred vendor relationship.
Right, right.
Okay. And then I'm just curious as to how we came up with the $42 million for 3 years, because I quickly did the math, and if we're anticipating having 7,000 computers serviced, that really breaks down to each computer costing us approximately $2,000 per year, potentially. Okay. So do we have history as to how much we've spent in the past for these services, and how did we come up with that number?
It's been I think the last 3-year contract was about $37 million. So it's not just, be careful, it's not just the 7,000 sort of laptop desktops, right? Over the 3-year period, so laptops generally we replace on a 4-year cycle unless they're broken or defective. We warranty them for 3, and that 4th year, generally it's not worth fixing. You would just trigger early replacement. Desktops, we do the same thing for a 5-year cycle. We're a little on the high side on the industry in terms of a lot of people do it 6 months to a year faster than we do, but we try to squeeze out the value of the equipment. But we're also buying servers for the server farm that run all our large applications. We have hundreds of physical servers that either we need to, again, replace on a cycle, or as new applications come up, we'll have to add servers to the environment. If we
Matt,
add servers...
I could interrupt you very quickly.
Yeah.
One of the points that is important to me on page 3, where it lists the main components of background, you'll notice that second bullet says 11 million data center. I frankly don't know of any utilities who maintain their data centers inside a 1965 shell, and I need to get the data center out of this building and into a protected environment. We've had a couple of glitches, and we've done multi-million-dollar hardening, but I need to get the data center out. So 11 million of it is to facilitate that.
Yeah, I know that's been discussed for a long time, so I'm glad that we're moving forward and doing that. And that does explain a lot, so that's helpful. And out of curiosity, from the last contract where we did approve the $36 million, did we use that entire amount? Or how close did we get to using that approved amount?
I think we pretty much used the entire amount. We had about $1.5 million left over.
Okay, thank you.
Matt, is this replacement for the water SCADA system, is that a replacement of the system, or is that just maintaining, or is this a one-time expense? I meant to ask that earlier.
It's been a variety of things. There's some just server replacements. They added some additional network monitoring equipment that they wanted to have on for both performance monitoring and security.
Okay, thanks.
That we bought through the contract and maintained through the contract.
And one last question, since you brought it up. What do we do once we decide to retire our laptops and desktop computers?
Okay. Historically, the city had a policy, actually an ordinance that said we had to treat them as e-waste. That has recently changed, and the city has a program by which they have them securely erased. That is, to NSA standards, all the drives erased through a contractor, and are providing them to various nonprofits. We are working through the details of what we have to do to and which equipment we're comfortable moving into that process right now, but we will be joining that effort.
Support that?
Yeah.
Other questions, comments? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's passed. Thank you. Item 14, Sustainability, City of Los Angeles Ordinance Number 182949, Delegation of Authority to the General Manager to enter into transaction related to environmental credits and renewable energy credits.
Director of Fuel and Power Purchase. And my name is Brad Packer. I'm the manager of the Wholesale Energy Resource Management Group at our Energy Control Center. Thank you for allowing us to give a presentation here today. It's going to be on environmental credits and renewable energy credits, as you see. I would like to go ahead and do a brief overview and talk a little bit about the history of how we got to this point right now. So in 2013, we put together an ordinance which would allow us to go ahead and purchase and sell environmental credits and renewable energy credits, which we call RECs. That was approved by the board in 2013. We then brought it to the City Council, who approved the ordinance, so the ordinance is now in place. And today we're here to go ahead and have the board hopefully officially authorize the general manager to be able to enter into these types of transactions. So we are, the department is required to comply with a variety of ordinances and laws and regulations from both a federal and a state and a local perspective here. And I have several of the examples: EPA, DOE, CARB, CEC, and AQMD. The majority of those are for emission credits. The California Energy Commission, they are responsible to make sure that we have sufficient renewable energy credits to make sure that the department meets its renewables goals. As we go ahead and enter into these transactions and agreements, we do have a oversight committee, which is the Energy Service Executive Policy Committee. We call that the Executive Risk Committee. And they are really the drivers of what type of strategies that we will go ahead and follow. They establish controls. We furnish periodic reports. And we do that on a quarterly basis and include the general manager. And there's also an annual audit, which is currently being done right now for our wholesale energy transactions and our natural gas transactions. And if this new ordinance is approved here today, then we will also include the environmental credits and RECs as part of that audit. There's also a variety of limitations and controls that we have. It's just not carte blanche to go buy what we would like, but we do have a variety of different limitations we have put in place. The first one is we cannot buy over $2 million per year of environmental credits and RECs. We also have a list of counterparties, which I've attached there. As part of those counterparties, there's a requirement that our financial services organization do a background check and establish credit limits for all of our counterparties, so we make sure that we don't find ourselves in a situation of a poor credit counterparty. The third bullet there, that the prices are capped for environmental credits and RECs. I think we have about 7 or 8 spelled out in some of your background documents, but there's definitely dollar limits on a dollar per amount per allocation or credit or renewable energy credit. There's a definite limit on those. And if we find ourselves that the market in general has been increasing in their prices, if those market prices are over what we have set up right now, we will be obliged to come back to both to the board and to the city council to obtain permission to go ahead and obtain those credits at a higher price. This is basically our last slide right here, and this has to do with our renewable energy credits. As we are progressing through this year of 2014, we actually find ourselves to be a little bit short, and we will need to go ahead and make some purchases of renewable energy credits. And by enabling this particular resolution, we will be able to go ahead and acquire authorization to do that. And I'm just going to share one more thing here. As the board provides that delegation to the general manager, the general manager will then further provide delegation to specified individuals within the company to go ahead and transact according to these rules and limitations. And so that's the presentation. I'd be happy to have any questions.
Questions? No? Apparently you've answered all the questions. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved.
Very much.
Thank you. Item 15, agreement number 472635 for engineering, procurement, and construction services for the Barron Ridge Renewable Transmission Project with Barnard Construction Company, Inc., term of 5 years for an amount not to exceed $184,266,981.
So, Commissioners, we've brought a number of packages over the last couple of years to the board concerning the Barron Ridge Transmission Project, the projects that are being built up in the Mojave Desert there, including the Beacon Project, the Springbok Project, the Barron Ridge Solar Project. The board approved the EIR for the transmission line in September 2012. Recently, we brought before you the eminent domain activity regarding a number of the parcels regarding this transmission line. And today, our request is an approval with Barnard Construction to do the design, the procurement, and the building of that transmission line over the 61 miles that have been approved through the EIR process. The team has been negotiating diligently with Barnard. There's a listing of some of the subcontractors and the other activities associated with this transaction. We did a lot of work and had great participation, 8 bids, very solid bids. Our expectation, we had brought in a third party because we haven't built a transmission line in a little bit of time. We brought in a third party to help us in evaluating what we thought it was going to cost us and help put together the RFP. The estimates were in excess of $300 million, as you can see today. We're substantially under that. Not only that, we also have a 25% contingency here. As a project of this size and scope, we need to have that type of contingency. So we have our staff ready to answer any specific questions if you might have any, but we would ask your approval today.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
I do. It shows that we received 186 solicitations. Why is it that we only received 8 entities bidding on this?
Eric Hartman, Manager of Major Projects, Power System Engineering. We had a lot of solicitations, but we only ended up with a small subset of that because this is a very aggressive project, and there's very few specialized firms that actually can perform this type of work.
And I think if you were to look at those that inquired on the project, most of those are subs, and this project has a substantial number of subs from some of the environmental work to some of the engineering type of activity. A lot of it's broken down, and there's a lot of materials involved in the procurement piece of it as well.
Mm-hmm. I think, given a project of this magnitude, it would be helpful to me at least if we had information on all of the bids that were received, especially when you consider that the department has executed huge contracts with this vendor previously. So I think, we keep talking about transparency and about increasing our audience of entities that would like to bid and do deals with the department. I think we need to get away from entities not wanting to do so because they feel, whether it's this firm or another one who's been given, a $229 million contract earlier this year, and then a $115 million contract in 2008, as well as have done some other work for us. I just want there to be a real feeling of fairness with the amount of interest that was shown originally and then the amount of bids that we received.
Want to address it, Glenn?
I think that's fine. We can work directly with you on what additional information you'd like to receive, and we can make sure that working with purchasing that we can include that in your package so you can see what we went through in looking at the various vendors and their proposals.
Yeah, and I think especially for an amount of this scope, it would be helpful to know why the great majority of entities that had shown interest decided not to respond.
Yeah.
And I understand your reasoning that many of them may have been subcontractors, but as for the other entities that may have been willing to come in more cost effectively, that had the expertise to do so, I'd like to know why they decided not to provide a bid.
Yeah, this is, when you consider, I'm aware of one other transmission line being built in California in the last 2 years, and that's it. It's not activity that's done a lot in California. So I was quite pleased to have 8, and 8 very good bidders to look at and to choose from, and to ensure that we got the best bid for the city of Los Angeles. But we can work with you on the additional information and provide you maybe some background.
Perfect. And just out of curiosity, who was the third-party entity that helped us with the RFP process?
That was Worley Parsons Engineering.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Other questions, other comments?
I did have a comment. I appreciate. I know that I've commented before about Barnard's being in Montana, I believe, but the effort that the staff made to reach out to local contractors and other contractors, it's pretty apparent that I noted the 54% effort. And since she's at the table, I'd like Ms. Williams' just a couple sentences on her satisfaction with the process and in terms of outreach. And
Actually, I
else.
think we really did have good competition on this one. Although it shows 186 people downloaded, what that represents is sometimes there may be as many as 4 or 5 people at one firm that are downloading that solicitation. So if you multiply that by 8, there might have been as many as 40 people downloading the solicitation that were duplicative of a firm. We had 9 firms, 9 prime contractors that were originally interested. We had 1 withdraw. So I think it's really good competition. If you look at the number of subcontractors listed under Barnard and you multiply that by the number of firms that we had, there were probably 100 and some subcontractors that downloaded the solicitation also. So that 186 is really not representative of the number of prime contractors that were going to bid on the solicitation. It's a combination of multiple people. When I worked at AECOM, there might have been 7 of us at AECOM that downloaded a solicitation for looking at it for various areas. So it's not really representative of the number
I think
of firms.
that's very, very helpful. And I
Okay.
know that you've been doing such a fine job in trying to refine the procurement process. May I suggest that perhaps that can be broken down for us in the
Okay, we can
future
do
so
that.
that we know,
Right.
what the audience was.
Right.
And, that definitely sheds a lot of light on the big discrepancy from 186
Okay,
to...
we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I almost wish we would have the picture up here, and I think we might have sent it around some time ago when we had the bidders. They were driving the transmission line to look at the project, and it looks like the 405 freeway, the number of cars. How many cars did we have on it?
There were 30.
30 vehicles
That's not
from
quite
different
not
vendors.
quite the 405.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Talking Little Dirt Road.
You're talking
It was on a
Little Dirt-
fire road.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but great interest, and I appreciate the work of the team in trying to ensure that they kept everybody informed and tried to bring in the best proposal possible.
I'm just going to chime in briefly to say I agree with the suggestions that Commissioner Noonan has made. I think having a fuller package would be very helpful in terms of transparency. Having said that, I think you guys have done a fabulous job, and I want to compliment you on that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just have one question out of curiosity, really. I'm thrilled that all the City Council had estimated and approved $307 million for this project, that it went down substantially. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a number of reasons, and I'll let them. But part of it is a lot of the preliminary work that goes into it that it takes away from the vendor speculating. So we've tried to do a better job on a lot of our projects and do a little further engineering, work harder on some of our environmental documents, so there's not a doubt where someone would have to cover that risk and put in dollars for that risk. I think that was a big part of it. The department's building the endpoints as well. So we took out, again, to do what we think we could do best and keep the cost down. And maybe you want to add to that, Eric?
Eric Montag, I'm the project manager for this project. When we came to Woolley Parsons for this $300 million estimate for the city ordinance, my team had a lot of unknowns at the time, so we made a lot of assumptions. They were big assumptions. Mm-hmm. They had to do with environmental, they had to do with land, engineering, who would engineer, who would procure. So there was a lot of assumptions we had to come up with 1.5 years prior to actually putting the agreement together. Mm-hmm. In the course of that year and a half, we got new inputs, better information. We focused the project in a lot more for the RFP, and I believe that's where you'll find a lot of the savings.
It's great news. Mm-hmm.
Ratepayer advocate have a comment on this item?
We were briefed thoroughly by the group, and given the infrequent construction of transmission lines, it was good to see it drop well below the original bid.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
We move to item 16. We have 3 grievances on the agenda, items 16, 17, and 18. The first is grievance number 803714, Mr. Paul De La Cruz.
Okay, I don't have a
Is
speaker
Mr. De
card.
La Cruz here?
I don't have he did not turn in a speaker card for 16.
Okay. Is action necessary on this?
Yes, we need
Yes,
to
okay.
vote on it.
Sir?
Yes.
These were heard by a board-level committee, the Personnel Committee. I believe it is Commissioner Noonan and Mr. Fleming.
Yeah.
They heard the issue. Their recommendation is attached, but it needs an action of the full board.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the action of the Personnel Committee on this grievance?
So
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
The action is approved. Thank you. On item 17, grievance number 800214, Reginald Ortiz. Is Mr. Ortiz here?
I did not have a card turned in for him.
Is there a motion to approve the Personnel Committee's action on this grievance?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Grievance number 809811 and 809911, John Stevenson. Is Mr. Stevenson here? Is there a motion to approve the Personnel Committee's action on these 2 grievances? Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
These, the Personnel Committee's actions are approved on these 2 grievances. We move to filed items. Monthly report, 19A, water system.
Only if you have any questions on it's our regular monthly report.
Any questions? Item B, item 2, FSO monthly report.
Just one comment I'd like to highlight. The report talks about a power system refunding transaction that we completed in July, and this was a successful bond sale in which we were able to refinance some of our debt to a new interest rate of 2.94%. And what's in this for the ratepayers is we were able to save them about $28 million, which we will use to reduce the rate increases that we foresee in the next few years. So direct savings into our ratepayers' pockets.
We like news like that. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, A3, power monthly report.
Nothing really to add related to additional activity outside of the written report. Outside, I wanted to call out similar Staff worked hard. The Federal Emergency Management Agency had declined our claim from some storm damage at Castaic during 2005. Staff went back and appealed that decision, provided additional documentation, worked very hard at that, and FEMA reconsidered and now has agreed to reimburse the department $2.2 million, also to the benefit of our ratepayers.
Good. Thank you. Questions? We move to 19B, investment report quarter ending June 30th.
Just short comments. Everything was in compliance, and we exceeded our benchmarks, so a good report.
These are all very nice reports. Questions? Thank you. Management reports A, B, and C. Management report 20A, infrastructure water plan.
I'm going to move so make it easier in everyone's eyes.
While he's relocating, sir, we'd like to request to defer C.
I'm sorry.
We'd like to request to defer presentation C under management reports.
We'll consider granting that request.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, thank you. The last board meeting, Power was able to share with you their power reliability program, the PRP. And so we wanted to share with you what we have in store for the water system. Julie Spake, who's one of our managing engineers in the Water Exec Office, has put together the presentation and will lead us through this. This will just take a few minutes. We've had a number of programs in place, kind of based on the nature of the asset. We had not rolled it up into a singular plan in one place, so we're doing that at this point to show you the overall picture of water infrastructure in a format besides just the budget briefing that you normally get. And so this is a kind of a high-level review of what we have planned for water infrastructure and how we look to make improvements in the years ahead. So with that, we'll start with our asset management. Go ahead, Julie.
Good afternoon. Our water infrastructure plan is based on our asset management plan. The asset management plan is a very long-term life cycle cost review and critique of our facilities. It looks at the initial cost of facilities. It looks at the cost of repair and operation. It also looks at the whole lifetime cost, and it balances that with risk. The infrastructure plan is the implementation of our asset management plan. It gets down into a lower level of granularity.
If I could just comment on this, so we've done a lot of looking at what Australia does in asset management. They've been the leaders in this area, mostly because there's kind of a public-private partnership in the water systems, and so they're very cost-driven and in some cases profit-driven. And so we're trying to look at the same question for us is, rather than just saying something's old needs to be replaced, we really try to look at the different aspects of that facility and to make good decisions, good business decisions about how to replace it and get the most out of the lifespan and not have stranded investments.
We have lots of different types of assets. They're all unique in their own foibles, what makes them more reliable, less reliable. In addition to this, we also have our yards, our treatment facilities. But these are the ones that we're focusing on first and foremost because of their age and because of the risk associated with not only service to our customers but the risk to the community in which we operate. The differences, for example, between our aqueduct and our meters, the attention we have to put to each is very different. Our main line, our distribution main line, is often used as our representative asset, partly because more people are aware of it, despite the fact it's buried. Our distribution main line is the actual pipe in the streets that come to people's houses, their services, and their fire hydrants. They're typically less than 24 inches in diameter. We've got 6,700 miles of this throughout the city. You see from the graph here, it's a dual graph, but we do this on purpose. The blue lines are highlighting, that's our incremental increasing of installation of mainline in the last several years. The gold line coming down shows our leak rate. You can see that we're having some effect. Not only are we reducing the number of leaks, but we're also pinpointing those assets which have the less available life to them. So we're doing the right work. We're picking out the pipe that needs to be replaced.
And excuse me, do you decide that based on how old the pipe is or the conditions of the environment? How is it decided which pipe should be replaced?
We have, particularly for the main line itself, we have several criteria. One of them is the leak rate. We plot and keep track of the leaks per mile, per segment of pipe. We look at the corrosivity of the soil. Some soil is very benign. Some of it's very aggressive as far as encouraging risk is rust. The corrosion of the pipe is concerned. Most of our pipe is lined in place, so internal corrosion is no longer a problem as it might have been a number of years ago before we had our lining program. So it's mostly external corrosion that we're concerned about. We do look at age because how long a pipe is in a corrosive environment will tell us a little bit about its functionality. When it comes down to actual pipe that we replace in any given year, we coordinate with the Bureau of Street Services so that with their paving program, so that if they're planning to be paving in a particular street next year, we have an opportunity to look at their schedule, ask them and work with them on their scheduling so that we can change out any pipe that's in our horizon in advance of them paving it so that we get the best value for the city.
That's good. Commissioner, if I could add, there's really two additional to that. It's also the type of materials that were used at the time of construction, as well as some of the construction methods. We were putting pipes together differently in the 1920s than in the 1930s. So those two factors also play into this assessment.
And I think exactly as Marcy pointed out is that the age for us, you say, why would a piece of metal age? So you really look at what's affecting it. And it's we know in our span of time that in the 20s and 30s, we used to put in unlined pipe. Since then, all pipe is lined. So, there's a break and then change in techniques. And so, if you said, do we need to have shorter age pipe? Well, maybe for this time, but then after it's all a new style pipe, maybe that'll last a lot longer the next time around. And so that is evolving quite a bit. And in the 100 years we've been doing this, the materials have changed considerably as well as the techniques.
Thank you.
We're looking to balance the pros and cons on our whole system to make sure we hit the sweet spot as far as replacement, getting the best value for the facilities that we have, not replacing them ahead of time, but getting them before they're a risk to our operations.
Can I ask a question at this point? Based on the criteria for replacement, the soil, the leak history, could you, I know looking back, could you have predicted what happened at Sunset Boulevard, at UCLA, and also the water rupture, the main rupture on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood?
The large trunk lines will do that, cover that in a moment. But we do have a testing program that we had done up until around 2000 when we started a lot of major replacements with our water quality improvements. And we're not able to keep up the program that we had going at the time, but we're reinstituting that. We have done a lot of work with with outside vendors that have techniques. That pipeline was actually tested just a few years ago, and no problems were found. So it shows that there's no perfect solution to look for those. The smaller mains are more difficult because you just never know. The hardest thing I say is, we know we have 1,100 breaks this year, but we don't know the 700 or 800 we didn't have because we replaced the pipe. And so really the measure of success is the line going downhill, looking at the number of failures. And so that's the hard part. We know we'll have breaks. How many we avoided is impossible to tell exactly, except for the trend.
So do you have like a little black book now where you've got a list of areas that you're watching that possibly could
We have areas we focus
in,
and we look at all the time. We revise that. But we have areas we're focusing in. And the next slide will show you a little of what's coming and why we're looking to increase the rate of replacement. You want to go to the next slide?
talk about
Yeah.
a little bit about, let's say, the sweet spot that we're trying to balance on which ones replace, how we get a little more life out of what we can. We're looking at some checks. One of the checks is what our leak rate is. Our leak rate is about 15 breaks per mile, per 100 miles, which is considerably lower than industry average. Industry average a few years back was about 27. The other is our total water loss, our loss due to leaks, and that we've just completed a water loss analysis and component study, and that tells us we're losing only about 3.5%, which is probably about half of the industry average.
Are you able to determine, when you say a leak, there's a leak and then there's a leak, a big leak. So are you able to determine the small leaks?
We regard all those are leaks. The ones that make the news are usually blowouts.
Yeah.
But blowouts are a subset of the leaks. So we do categorize those differently because we want to know the ones that cause more street damage and that sort of thing. But even the small leaks, we had a 3-inch long split on a 36-inch main over the weekend, and so that goes into leaks just like the Sunset leak does. So when we say leaks here, this is all leaks, including the catastrophic ones.
When they do a water loss audit, they look at all the water that comes into the system and all the water we sell, and then go down and account for that which is the difference. And they can attribute a certain amount to leaks.
So one question with the leak rate being actually not bad, and the number of breaks actually not bad, the question is why we would need to ramp up the program, because we do want to ramp up our replacement program. And this shows the age of pipe in the system. And again, age is not the only criteria, but as the general manager pointed out, age has a lot to do with the style of construction and materials used at the time. And so in this case, the age is an indicator. So what we see is the annexation of Venice and a lot of construction in West LA, and then we see a lot of development in the valley. And so we have these huge humps of pipe that are going to be getting old, and by the style and the methods that those were installed, we see a lot of work coming ahead. So what we don't want to do is get caught 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road with a glut of work and a glut of leaks. So we need to get ahead of that. So those are the reasons that we are continuing to increase our replacement, because we know that this group of pipe coming up is rather large, and it's quite a bit of footage. And so we want to stay even with our program and kind of get ahead of the curve before the breaks and leaks get worse on us.
So we're probably at a good spot right now, but we're looking to accelerate because we know that peak is coming at us in one form or another in the years to come. So where do we hope to be? Where are we striving to get to? Our long-term goal is to reach a 50-mile annual replacement cycle by 2020. Current year, we're looking to replace 150,000 feet. We're continually looking to use the best materials that will have a longer life, materials that are particularly suited to the environment in which we place it. We're looking to include earthquake-resilient pipe in particular areas, and we will be continually reevaluating our goal. Our trunk lines are the big pipe in the system, typically those that are bigger than 24 inches. They usually do not have services or hydrants attached to them. They're the transmission lines of the water system. They tend to break more catastrophically because of the pressure and flow in the pipe. So here our objectives are just a little bit different. We really have to take into account the risk in which we operate our facilities. We do want to maintain the reliability of the system. Typically when a trunk line is out of service, we do not have an immediate loss of service to anyone. We have redundant and multiple services transmission to areas of the city. But if we don't get to it and get it replaced quickly, we will have many customers out of service. So there isn't the urgency, but there's the importance factor involved here. We have over the years done 2 condition assessment and reports and have come up with this pie chart that shows the relative functionality of our older pipe, our older trunk lines.
I just want to ask another question.
Certainly.
Since the UCLA break, are you looking more seriously at what an earthquake, a major earthquake, what the result would be in Los Angeles? And I know that we're told something like 30 mains like that could break in an earthquake. So are you doing anything? I notice that you're using earthquake resilient pipe, but is there anything else that your department is doing that kind of more focused on earthquakes and what would happen?
Well, very specifically, yes, we are. The mayor had asked Dr. Lucy Jones from USGS to spend a year with the city looking at 4 important parts of the elements that make the city sustainable. And one of those is water supply. The idea is that without water, also communications and adequate housing, Los Angeles is not sustainable.
Probably without getting too far in front of a report that'll be issued out of the mayor's office on a variety of areas of resiliency, one of which is water. That'll probably be out within the next month or 2. And so there'll be a lot of detail, I think, available then.
Okay. I'm just curious if you have a more, what your focus is, more focused now in the department.
And these efforts would be consistent with what we need to make sure that we're resilient in an earthquake.
So our strategy for trunk lines are to reinstate our testing program, to find those which are the weak links, the most vulnerable spots, fix those, and keep the rest of the asset in working order. We have a corrosion protection program that extends the life of our steel pipe. We will continue that. We'll keep replacing trunk line as part of our water quality improvement programs, and we would be looking to address those that are the lowest, I'll say the highest risk, the moderate to high risk pipe. There's, in that previous graph, they were the D-rated ones, and we'd hope to be addressing all of those in the next 10 years. Other assets, we have the aqueduct. We have 1 aqueduct, 2 barrels. We are not going to be replacing that. That we do on a keeping it going basis. We replace it sections at a time as we have the opportunity to take it out of service. This year we happen to have some inopportune opportunity to take it out of service, and we have lower flows available to us, so we can take it out of service and do some repairs. This picture is an example of replacing the top of a below ground channel section. This is a very typical type of refurbishment that we're doing there. We also are painting and doing cathodic protection on the pipe portions. Pump stations are an important part of our system. I liken them to automobiles. They're very mechanical, electrical oriented. We take care of them just as you would a car. We evaluate those parts that are more likely to wear, those parts that need more attention. We've evaluated them. We have goals to replace the internal parts of them, and our next step will be to look at the structures.
And if I could, pump stations are a kind of a classic application of the asset management, because 15 years ago we used to budget to replace an entire pump station. But now we say, well, is that pump station the right capacity? Is the building functional? Do we just need to replace the pipe that's inside, the control systems, the pumps? So we're now targeting the pieces of those assets that need to be replaced rather than just wholesale replacing the whole asset. And that will be a lot faster to do and a lot less expensive to do as well.
Our regulator stations are kind of a cross between the mechanical, electrical equipment of a pump station, and the buried assets of a pipe. You can see here a picture of one particular regulator station. It's included in a vault. It's below ground in a street. The top picture, which the facility's in red, it was painted red, but it's also a lot of rust you see there. Those mechanical and electrical pieces are not in good working order, but you see in the picture below where we've gone through and refurbished all of the equipment inside the existing pipe, inside the existing station. Our next approach there will be to be looking at the pipelines connecting that into the system, the weak spot here being that little piece of pipe that goes into that vault. So we'll be looking at updating those next. Our meter replacement program was highlighted in one of the board items earlier. It's important to keep our billing accurate. It's important to account for our losses. And as we're going along, we build in the opportunity to do meter, the remote reading. We have quite a few other assets which we do on more of a singular basis. We do have our dam assessment and replacement review program. We do that in cooperation with the Division of Safety of Dams. We have two in the valley, the Owens Valley, that we're looking at, particularly North Hayway and Tinnemaha. We have tanks. We clean them routinely. We coat them, replace the roofs and the mechanical equipment on them as needed. We have floating covers, which are of particular interest to our water quality regulators. Those covers do wear, they're exposed to sunlight, and they are a protection of the water quality. So we have one of those currently in this year's budget at Eagle Rock. As far as our overall investment, this graph represents the high threshold. You can see a proportion between all of our facilities. I broke out mainline, trunk line, and then all other in there, and you can see that the pipeline is a significant part of it. As far as the actual numbers behind it, these are the same numbers as go with that graph. As we go along with our trunk line testing program, we expect that investment in the trunk lines to come down, that we will not have to replace them all, but we'll find the small section that needs to be repaired and be able to maintain the rest of the asset for a much longer period of time. Our program is focused to improve customer service. It's designed to maintain water quality and to reduce the impact on the communities in which we operate. We want to do this at the overall lowest cost, balanced with risk, and we provide water, and it's reliably to support the vibrant sustainability of the city.
Thank you very much. Very, very helpful.
Very comprehensive. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We have one more item on the open session which I'd like to complete before we get to the closed session, which is 20B Water Conservation Update.
Go ahead, Dave.
Good afternoon, President Levine, Commissioners. I'm David Pettyjohn. I'm the Director of Water Resources, and with me is Penny Falcon. She manages our water conservation programs. We're here today to present to you the strategies and methods that the city is taking to manage the current drought conditions. This presentation is 24 slides, and I can get through it in about 15 minutes, so we're going to move right through it. Due to the dry year conditions, Governor Brown declared a drought state of emergency on the 17th of January this year. And on July 29th, the State Water Resources Control Board adopted state emergency conservation regulations. We actively participated and provided feedback to the State Board on their process, and the regulations that they've adopted will remain in effect until April 25th of next year, at which time the State Board may choose to extend those regulations. The State Board's emergency regulations require urban water agencies to implement water shortage contingency plans to a level where restrictions on outdoor irrigation are mandatory. Furthermore, all Californians are required to comply with prohibitions against various forms of water waste, some of which are shown on this slide: hosing down driveways or sidewalks, overwatering, causing runoff, etc. The good news is that Phase 2 of the city's emergency water conservation ordinance, which is currently in effect, complies with all the State Board requirements. But also the city's ordinance includes additional restrictions on water waste above and beyond the state board requirements, such as we don't allow watering between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., no serving of water in restaurants unless it's requested. We have mandates on leak repairs and no outdoor watering during days where there's rainfall. So what's LADWP doing in response to the drought? Among other things, we're expanding our water conservation response unit, our water crew, to enforce the phase 2 of our water conservation ordinance. We've increased staff to 6 team members, 4 full-time, which you see here, and 2 part-time. And in addition, we've added the ability to increase that up to 9 personnel if we need to. We've also added new car wraps, also shown here, to improve customers' visibility of our patrol cars. A few enforcement statistics for you. From 2009 to 2012, we received 30,000 reports of ordinance violations. Of those reports, 9,000 were issued warnings or citation letters, but only 300 monetary citations were issued to repeat offenders. Since January of this year, we've received over 4,600 reports of violations. Of those, we've issued about 2,200 warning and citation letters, but as of now, we have not had to give any repeat offenders monetary citations. Our customers can report water waste through a variety of means. They can email us at waterwaste@ladwp.com, or they can call 1-800-DIAL-DWP, and that's 1-800-342-5397. Additionally, we've partnered with the city to give residents the ability to report water waste on My LA 311 website and phone app. We're also currently consulting with LAPD to evaluate potential assistance from their department if needed. From January to July, we've invested $500,000 in our water conservation messaging. As shown above, we're advertising on bus tails and new this year, bus benches and bus shelters. We're also advertising in movie theaters. We've had 110 screens that have had showings of 58,000 this year. And on radio, we have 12 stations that have had 900 airings. We're also advertising online, targeting the specific geographic area of the city of Los Angeles, and in various newspapers, the LA Times, City Watch, La Opinion, Daily News. And we're also outreaching to 30 community newspapers, including various foreign language newspapers. We've developed a variety of water conservation education and promotional materials that you see here. These materials are handed out at community events and are also accessible as downloads from our website. Bottom left are our new restaurant tent cards that tell patrons that they will be served water only upon request. The bottom center is a copy of the postcard that we mailed out to all 480,000 single-family residential customers, notifying them of their watering days. During August of this year, we've had more than 3,000 television ads on water conservation that have aired on 15 cable networks. And in addition, through Time Warner Cable, we posted over 300,000 online TV and banner ads on 200 websites, including web-based focusing within our service territory. And we're going to play for you the water conservation PSA that's playing on TV and on movie theaters.
But we can all do our share. Fix water leaks, replace grass.
Do we get a break on the pricing of these with Time Warner?
With Time Warner?
I think Joe Romano did get a good deal with Time Warner, but he'll have to address that specifically.
I'd like to hear more about it.
Okay, all right.
Dave, didn't the August comparative numbers come out today, probably in the last couple hours? Have you seen them?
I have not seen those numbers.
The comparison of August year over year shows us down, I think it's 8.9%.
Oh, yes, no, that's correct.
And I think, frankly, it's strongly attributed to the outreach campaign and the PSAs and all of the advertising work. That's a substantial improvement year over year. Sorry.
No, that's correct. And there, we do have a slide that gives some information, give you a trend on that effect.
With California-friendly plants and get a rebate of up to $3 per square foot. Run your sprinklers based on your street address. Odd addresses on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Even addresses on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Before 9 a.m. or after 4 p.m. The future of LA is in our hands. And that's a good thing.
Okay. Looking forward, we plan to spend another $500,000 on our ad campaign through the end of this year. Some new things we've developed are shown here, and they include hotel towel rack hangers to offer patrons the option to reuse their towels. water waste door hangers to outreach to your neighbors, and our water conservation calendars, which showcase art from our grade school water conservation poster contest. And we're also working on 3 new PSAs that will air on television and movie theaters. In addition, we've been very active this year with our grassroots outreach campaign. We've made guest speaking presentations at various venues, including at World Fest, before the LA County Commission Board, at the Federal Regional Council, and at the Los Angeles Neighborhood Initiative Forum. We've also made presentations before various neighborhood councils, the LA Neighborhood Council Coalition, and at the Valley Alliance of Neighborhood Councils. And we've staffed water conservation outreach booths at various community events, including Earth Day, LA River Day, and at the Mar Vista Farmers Market, among others. Something new this year, we've awarded 3 community partnership outreach grants of $90,000 each, which to nonprofit groups to assist us with our water conservation outreach. One went to the LA Neighborhood Land Trust, another to Los Angeles Community Garden Council, and the third to Selva International. Selva International is providing hands-on workshops to our residential customers, where customers can learn how to remove turf, do grading, mulching, and install rain barrels on their property. We've also increased our collaboration with other agencies during the drought. We're partnering with the Bureau of Sanitation on their One Water LA 2040 plan, I guess that's a city plan actually, and various stormwater capture opportunities. We're working with the Metropolitan Water District and its 25 member agencies to develop a regional drought rationing plan, and this plan is going to be ready for implementation next year and will cover all of Southern California. We're partnering with agencies such as the LA Department of Rec and Parks and LA Fire Department and Caltrans to assist them in reducing their water use. And we're working with the golf industry through our Golf Industry Task Force to explore opportunities to reduce water use through turf removal and the use of recycled water at the 35 golf courses in our service area. And we've collaborated in various drought response coordination meetings through a variety of water industry organizations, including California Urban Water Agencies, California Urban Water Conservation Council, the California Municipal Utilities Association, and the Association of California Water Agencies. This year we've received a record-breaking earned media opportunities regarding our drought response and our water conservation activities. From just the first 7 months of this year, LADWP staff have participated in over 300 earned media opportunities, including 86 radio interviews, 28 television interviews, 95 online news articles, and 92 print media news articles. These include interviews with LA Times, USA Today, La Opinion, Daily News, Fox, NBC, and the City News Service. Thanks to our conservation and education outreach activities, which really began to take off in April, public awareness on the importance of conservation during this drought has increased dramatically, as shown here. From April to August this year, we have seen 53,000 visitors to our water conservation websites compared to 24,000 last year. And in July and August of this year, we have seen a huge surge in our website traffic to more than twice what it was last year. This greater public awareness has resulted in commercial and residential rebates increasing by 187% this year compared to last year. And as a result, in fiscal year 13-14, we achieved just under 4,000 acre-feet a year in water savings through our rebate programs, as compared to fiscal year 12-13, when we received about half that much. Also, so far in fiscal year 14-15, we've experienced record-breaking reservations for water conservation rebates. We're only 3 months into the fiscal year, and customers have reserved $2.5 million in residential rebates, mostly for our toilets and washing machines. We're also experiencing tremendous increased participation in our residential turf removal program, thanks to our Fall 13 outreach campaign and our increasing incentive that May of this year from $2 to $3 per square foot of turf removed. A few statistics on the success of our turf removal program. Since the commercial and residential turf removal program started, we have removed a total of 8.8 million square feet of turf. From July 13 to July 14th alone, we've removed 1.72 million square feet of turf, which equates to about 1,142 front yards, as shown here. And we estimate the water savings from the commercial and residential turf removal programs totals 278 million gallons per year. Similar to the indoor residential program, the residential turf removal program has over 2.5 million in reservations during just the first 3 months of this fiscal year. To encourage residents to switch over to California-friendly landscape, We're providing free residential training classes to share information and advice on how to transform your lawn into a beautiful California-friendly garden. These free classes are held in downtown LA and in Van Nuys. The schedule for our upcoming classes is shown on the left here. These classes are 3 hours long on Saturday mornings and have been very popular with our customers. In addition, we're working on a California-friendly landscape website shown on the right that will contain information and photos on plants available for replacement. This website will contain landscape design templates to assist residents interested in starting a California-friendly garden, and the website is planned to be launched later this month. And we're also in the process of installing a California-friendly demonstration garden right here at LADWP's John Ferraro headquarters building, and there are going to be 2 different styles of California-friendly landscapes showcased in that garden, and the planning is going to begin this fall. In partnership with LA Department of Rec and Parks and the LA Conservation Corps, we've hired young people for this summer to assist in city park retrofits. Young people learned how to perform maintenance work on irrigation systems, remove turf, and plant California-friendly landscapes. This program began in July of 2014. Our water conservation group is partnering with other city groups to support the new Los Angeles Discovery Cube Science Center at Hansen Dam, shown here. The center will showcase exhibits on water and energy conservation, local water supplies, and the LA Aqueduct. The center's water conservation highlight will be the Sustainability House, which will educate visitors on water-efficient appliances, California-friendly plants, and teach visitors how to identify leaks. The center plans to have its grand opening on November 13th of this year. Water systems across the country, including ours, often get accused of wasting water by having leaky systems. And this can be true. For instance, in Philadelphia, they have about a 40% non-revenue rate for their water systems. So in response to this, we're anxious to confirm our level of water waste due to system leakage. So we completed recently the first in-depth water loss audit and component analysis of our entire water system. To accomplish this goal, we hired a technical expert in water loss auditing to quantify losses and make recommendations on how to reduce system losses. The project determined that the non-revenue percentage was just 5.2%, as shown here. And out of this non-revenue water total, real losses, that's total system leakage, accounts for only 3.5% of our water supply, as I believe Julie mentioned earlier. Apparent losses, and these are meter inaccuracies and theft, and unbilled uses like fire flows and system flushing account for the remaining 1.7%. So to put this in some perspective, the historical U.S. industry benchmark for what is considered to be an efficient water system is 10% system losses. So we're pretty proud of having a non-revenue percentage that is about half of the industry standard. But there's still room for improvement, and so we're launching a water loss audits task force which will assess the technical experts' recommendations and implement an action plan to further reduce our water losses across the city. Here you see 2 new water conservation projects that we're currently working on. On the left is our Water Insight Pilot Project, which is a behavioral efficiency program that aims to educate customers on their water use. The pilot will provide study group customers with bi-monthly home water use reports and provide the study group with access to an interactive online web portal which will give customers detailed information on their water use and on LADWP's water conservation programs. Other cities that have conducted this pilot see about a 5% reduction in water use among their participants, so we're very hopeful about the outcome on this. On the right is our water conservation potential study, which was launched in June of this year, and this is designed to help us assess current programs' saturation levels and determine the remaining potential for our current conservation programs, identify new emerging conservation technologies, and assist with development of future cost-effective conservation programs. The study is planned to be completed in the fall of 2015 and will assist us in our long-term water conservation program planning. As a result of all our water conservation efforts, and this is what Marcy was referring to earlier, in July we saw a 4.4% reduction in water use citywide, and in August the water use reduction doubled to 8.8%. You'll notice that in May the water use actually increased, and this was due to abnormally high average temperature for May, which was a full 7 degrees above normal. And to put that in some perspective, we've accomplished all this water use reduction despite extremely hot weather this year. So far in 2014, it's on average 4 degrees hotter than the long-term average temperature conditions for Los Angeles. And as I mentioned, you can see here from the previous slide, May was 7 degrees hotter than normal. Likewise, precipitation has been much lower than average for 2014. LA's normal precip for January to August would be over 10 inches of rain, but so far there's been only 5 inches of rain in 2014. So this extremely dry weather also makes it much harder to increase water conservation levels. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, consideration has to be given to the city's long-standing successful water conservation program, which began in earnest in 1977. To date, our customers have achieved over 110,000 acre-feet of water conservation through efficient hardware installations alone. And we're continuing to invest heavily in water conservation rebates, outreach, and education programs to promote permanent customer behavior change, which has resulted in an additional 16.3% in savings just since 2009. This graph shows that though the city's through our conservation programs, we've kept our water demand flat despite a population increase of over 1 million new customers. And finally, you can see on this slide the city's gallons per capita per day is down to 131, which is one of the lowest of any major city across the entire United States. So that concludes our presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
It's very, very impressive. Thank you. Are there questions? Commissioner Barad.
I'd like to know about your program, the water waste. Is that a separate department? Is it a separate number? What's the wait time on that? Could you tell me about that?
Are you referring to the reports of water waste and
Yes.
as they come in?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that we do run that program here at the DWP. We have our water conservation response unit that essentially goes out when they get a report of water waste. They'll investigate the report. First contacts are usually informational. They try to talk to the customer or leave something informational, let the customer know how they're out of compliance and how to be in compliance. And only after multiple offenses would they get any sort of a fine.
I'm talking hotline. I'm talking about the hotline when people call in. I understand that there's a very long wait on that.
We've streamlined that since that time. So now if they do call the 1-800-DWP number, there's an option number 5 to report water waste, and that will connect them directly to another line where they can leave a voicemail. And it gives them specific directions and instructions on the type of information we need them to leave. And then the water waste or the water crew staff will go out and investigate. So that typically takes about 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, so how long between when they transfer over to another? You said what did you say on the menu? It's 5 or 8?
They get transferred to a direct line where they can leave a message.
Okay,
and that takes 1
gets,
to 2 minutes total.
That gets picked up. They don't have to wait for that.
No, it goes straight to a voicemail box, and they get to leave the message. So the typical time when we've tested it is 1 to 2 minutes. But the better method that we've tried to instruct our customers is to use the email method, and they just email at waterwaste@ladwp.com, and that works, and they can just send the information directly. They can also use the 311 app with their smartphone, take a picture, upload it, just like they do for street light failures or other reports they want to send to the city. And also on the 311's website, they can send an email from there.
There's another number, though, that people have been calling in where
there's the 311 or the 1-800-DWP.
where there's been a long wait for people to report if they see that there's water running in the streets, or there's a broken, there's a hose running, or somebody's doing something.
Yeah, it was a problem, Commissioner Broad, and we've addressed it now. So we actually created a way for people to get through the system in a more streamlined fashion.
So that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What did you?
It was corrected.
That was corrected?
Yes, it was.
So now they call this number?
Yeah.
And then
I was very concerned about it. After it was corrected, I went ahead and called it from my desk, and it did take about 2 minutes to get right through. So it was much
because
quicker.
there was 45 minutes to an hour and a half wait, and then being disconnected last week.
I think more and more people are relying on the email, and they're able to upload photos and provide a lot more description than they can by just calling in. So I think that's been quite popular, and that's checked. It's checked regularly, as is the voicemail box.
Because some of our neighborhoods, some people don't have the access to send emails, or have a lot of seniors who really are not doing that. They're used to picking up the phone and calling, and so I think that really needs. I'm glad that you've figured out a way to get that right away. So on that queue, you said that the fifth, they have to listen. It's the fifth thing?
It's option 5 currently on the queue.
Okay, and that's pretty fast to get to that option 5? And what does it say? Does it say to report?
To report theft or water waste, I think, are the 2 options.
Theft or water waste?
Yes. And then when you click, when you push option 5, then it'll say to report water waste.
Okay.
And you push that button, you make that choice. Unfortunately, we do have the phone tree still with all the options because we do offer a lot of services at the department, but we've streamlined it, so it'll be 1 to 2 minutes before they get to a voicemail box where they can leave the message.
What's number 1 on that queue?
To report a leak, a failure, a power outage, or a water leak.
That's number 1?
Yes.
Okay, because I know that's been moved up.
Yes, that's
okay.
number 1.
Good.
At your suggestion.
At my suggestion.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I just have a follow-up question. And I appreciated the statistics that you outlined related to this endeavor that the department has initiated. So somebody reports quote-unquote abuse, then we issue a warning, correct? And you said very rarely have we had to issue a monetary penalty. In the case that one's ordered, how is it received? Is it just added to their bill? And in the event that a resident would like to dispute the abuse, legally, how does that work?
Well, they do get a mail. It's not added to their bill.
No, historically it used to be added to the bill. Now we actually just send them, it goes along with their ticket, and they're told where to mail a check to for the fine, and then they'll mail the check, and then it'll go through our accounting system.
And how about if they would like to dispute it? How would
There's a method in there, too. In our emergency water conservation ordinance, there's a method for people to talk to the board or to have a hearing to discuss or dispute the charge. Most of the time, the first level, they talk to our water crew staff and talk to them about the concerns, and if there was an error in issuing the warning or the citation, then we'll pull it back and make the notes in the system, and they basically start over. But when we get a warning from anybody, any kind of tip, we first verify the tip before we just send them, even issue the first warning. We may issue and give them information, but we will not issue a warning or a monetary fine unless one of our staff physically observed the violation.
Thank you.
And again, the focus is on trying to educate our customers on the need to conserve water and the ordinance and other things. And I think water agencies across the state are finding similar things, that when you do interact with customers and provide that education, that those violations, so to speak, go away. And I think DWP, as well as water agencies across the state, have found just the touch with the customers to be very, very effective in educating them about how they can save water.
Now, I understand the methodology. I just wanted to make sure that we were doing our due diligence on our end, because I could imagine that if we didn't follow up, some neighbors that were mad at each other could just allege abuse just to anger the other one off. So I wanted to understand in better detail how the process works.
These are always fully investigated, and sometimes the report isn't accurate, but the times where it is, as Nancy's mentioned, that people are very responsive. People in LA, it seems culturally they are starting to get it. I mean, they really do want to comply. They want to do the right thing, and if you make them aware of it, 99% of the time they will.
Other questions?
I did have, I think it's a great presentation, and I'm glad to see that you're out promoting DWP. I think our PR machine it's important to get the word about the good things we're doing. When we talk about that to the public, I think it's also important to remind people, given that it's raining less, we're in a drought, it's hotter, what rains evaporates, the important connection that stormwater is a resource, and that theme needs to be conveyed. In addition to what you're already doing, because I don't think the public quite gets it yet. Stormwater, I've had a long history with stormwater. It took a while for the public to understand that stormwater in the streets went to the bay. It just seems logical now. But so I look forward to just the next, as things roll out, seeing that message conveyed as well.
Very good point, Commissioner Funderburk. And we do offer currently rebates for somebody who wants to install a rain barrel on their property, but we're also engaged currently in a stormwater capture master plan, which is designed to do some of these things.
I look forward to seeing that on Time Warner.
Okay.
So if you have a rain barrel and it doesn't rain,
Say again?
I mean, I've been thinking I want to get a rain barrel, but it doesn't rain. So, I mean, it will eventually. Yes. But so, what's?
Yeah, we've had, as you probably recall, I mean, we've had about half as much rain this year as we normally get. So, it does rain very intermittently, and that's the idea of a rain barrel. You can catch a little bit of the rain, and you even if the rain barrel itself, one of the things that really does for a customer is help them realize how important water is, and teaches them to manage water. And it's rare that you'll have somebody who's going to be interested in managing a rain barrel out in their yard who's just going to leave a faucet running when they're brushing their teeth. It's people start getting more serious about things.
What about gray water? People, how do you get How do you get it and then use it to water your plants or whatever?
Well, the city does have a gray water ordinance now, so you can actually reroute the water from your washing machine out onto your property. The question that we need to address here at the department is what is the water savings? What is the offset to potable use that you get from these type of systems? And we need to find a way to quantify that and do our due diligence on gray water systems.
Because then you are saving the water. That some of that water could be used for watering from the washing machine.
That's correct. The question is, if somebody had a gray water system, would they then go out and reprogram their outdoor irrigation system to account for the fact that they're putting water from their gray water system on? And that's still a question in our minds.
Well, how would someone, if they want to do that, just simply water their plants with it, let's say, or their fruit trees? Who do they contact for that? To set up a system?
You think put the gray water into an on-site cistern and then reuse the water?
Yeah.
Is that right? I'm not sure that there is.
There's an online information available. Building and Safety oversees the gray water systems in the City of Los Angeles. So you don't need a permit for the simple laundry to landscape systems, but there is certain requirements. You can't put it in overhead irrigation. It needs to be, a covered system. You need to reuse that, so you couldn't really hold it for too long of a period. And then you have more complicated permitted systems. But we do have a link from our DWP website over to Building and Safety for customers that are interested in gray water.
Okay.
Gray water is kind of a gap between where we're selling fresh water and where Bureau of Sanitation is treating wastewater, and so it's kind of something that happens on someone's property. So the city's trying to get a handle on some regulations and proper procedures for that, as opposed to people just running a hose outside from the laundry.
Think of all the water that just washes away every time you wash clothes.
Right. There's a lot of water that's potentially there, so that's why Building and Safety, because it's kind of neither fish nor fowl, so it's fallen in Building and Safety to put some guidelines together as to how to properly use that on your property.
Are they doing that?
Yes, they have that. Pinnerford there's a website now to give advice on that.
Right, and there are some groups in the city, the departments involved, the Bureau of Sanitation, Building and Safety, Planning Department, that have been discussing gray water, and will continue to discuss gray water.
Oh, that's good.
And the use of it.
But you don't need a permit to do a simple gray water system, but the systems that you're referring to, you would need. There's no way to put one of those in without a city permit. So you'd have to go through a permitting process to put a gray water system that captured gray water in your home and reuse it. That would require a permit. But you can reroute gray water from your laundry onto your property without a permit now.
By myself. Just scoop it out.
Yes, but the lead agency is Building and Safety in the City of Los Angeles. The department isn't doesn't have any authority over gray water.
Any other questions? Thank you again
Thank you.
for a terrific presentation.
Thank you.
Counselor?
Yes, sir. After closed session, the board shall report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention of every member present thereon in accordance with Section 54 and 957.1 of the California Government Code.
We will move into closed session.